Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit, and with me I have Mr. Richard Matthews of Pardus FX with us to just talk sterling. We're only going to talk sterling. We're going to talk. I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm joking. We got a lot to talk about, but we really have the CPI data coming out tomorrow, which is something that we need to discuss. I think we
Yeah.
have a few topics that I think you all as traders are going to really appreciate. So, Dick, good to see you.
And you. And you.
So what are we gonna do with this? Let's start off with the pound, because I know you love to be like the pound whisperer. You called it being bullish last week. It tried to break out, but
Yeah.
we're in a really pivotal area right here, just above 124. What are your thoughts?
It's really interesting, isn't it? I don't know. You'll tell me, but I think it's the third time it's tried to break up above 124.40. Is it 46 or 48? Just at
Yeah,
that level. So it looks like it's going to do it and ran out of steam and came straight back down again. I don't think there's the oomph there at the moment. Obviously, you had the as everyone says, the Goldilocks for Easter non-farm payroll number on last Friday when we were all shut, enjoying ourselves on Easter egg hunts, which I guess seals that the Fed will raise again by another 25 basis points come May, unless there's anything untoward in CPI. So I think that's just, gave the dollar a little bit of a lift. And if that hadn't have happened, maybe you've seen sterling stay above that level. But I think that just reversed the momentum on the dollar a little while. But tomorrow, I think it's the big one, or two big ones. I think the FOMC minutes are going to be interesting as well.
okay. Well, let's start off with CPI and let's talk about inflation. I mean, it seems like to me that the market is preparing for weaker data. I mean, we're seeing inflation come down globally. It's going to give the Fed a little bit more leeway to be, maybe not as hawkish, maybe not raise a quarter basis point, maybe even consider cutting later on this year if inflation continues to weaken towards its 2% target. But it seems like the market's leaning into that. What are your thoughts here with the dollar and inflation?
Just actually on that, because I thought the market was leaning in for disappointment on Friday, actually. And I think that they were looking for the market to be disappointed on non-farm payroll figures, and they got a shock. I think wish is trying to overrule experience. They're trying to wish for the Fed to pivot and wish the end of this tightening cycle. And of course, inflation's out of control. Doesn't matter what the oil price is going to do. Doesn't matter that OPEC Plus can cut again, and you see all up at $100 a barrel. Oh no, inflation's coming down. Inflation's coming down. They've called the end of it too early, and I've said this consistently. I think you're not going to see a cut this year. I'll have a bottle of whiskey, and I don't even drink whiskey. I have a bottle of whatever you like with you on that. You won't see the Fed cutting this year. I think you'll still see a higher terminal rate than people think. I think you'll see 6%. I
Wow.
think the threat of oil is still there. There's so much wish and hope it's going away. No one knows. You've never seen anything like this before. 1990 was the last time we had a pandemic. You have a pandemic, then a world war, and then you see a realignment, really serious realignment of people who are less than friendly to the West. I mean, very careful what I'm saying. The Saudis, Iran, Russia. We haven't got a lot of friends over there who feel they can squeeze us. So I think inflation is going to stay higher for longer. Interesting, the New York Fed came out. They raised their end of year target. They did 4.7% over the weekend on the inflation rate, which I thought was a bit of a surprise. So I just think the market's wrong. Even if it does come in a soft figure, it's still at least twice the Fed's target.
So what do you think it then is gonna move the needle regarding the FOMC meeting minutes? Because you do think that that's going to be important for us to watch.
I think that's interesting because the last FOMC meeting, you had the SVB crisis going on at that very time, and I'd be interested to see how they debated why they did raise by 25, not 50, or leave it as it was. It'd be interesting to see what went on there, because I think that was a financial stability motivated rate, if I can say such a thing, as opposed to a necessary rate rise for inflation. And it may have tempered their feelings a little bit. So that'd be interesting to dig down into that a little bit and maybe get a reading on what they're going to do in in a couple of weeks' time. So I think even if I think it's going to be an incredibly good figure, pleasant surprise to throw the Fed off its course on the CPI spur. And I just keep an eye on what they say in the FOMC as well later on in the afternoon.
Now, do you see any other risks that are surfacing, that are bubbling up that we as traders need to be aware of?
I was watching what was going on around the coast of Taiwan with the Chinese with their exercises and whatever. But I did speak to a great mate of mine who lived in Taiwan for a long time over the weekend. And, it's a good time to invade because there's certain times of the year when you just can't invade. So no, I don't think they'll invade. They'll wait for next year's elections, and I think you'll find that Taiwanese will vote to do a deal with China and have it as a special administrative territory like Hong Kong, which I was really surprised at. Apparently, the ruling party got hammered in the recent elections there, and the population is 50-50 split. Now, I've never heard that before, so having been worried about Taiwan, I put that a little bit to the side. But you've still got these dreadful geopolitical worries. I still think Ukraine, you're an error away from an absolute catastrophe there. I think Finland has poked the bear again. Johnny NATO has poked the bear. So I'm still worried about Ukraine and that getting out of hand. Got to keep an eye on what's going on in Iran and Israel. I don't think that feels too good. And I think Syria, very quietly, there's some problems there with America and Syria. I don't know if you've seen that with a couple of strikes. So I think that this geopolitical risk, which of course to me would benefit the dollar, and oil.
It's interesting, Richard. There's been so many people talking about the de-dollarization and the death of the dollar. Is it premature to have those conversations?
Yes. In a word. Yeah, no, I think it is.
Well, how much in your experience over your span of the markets, which is nearly 5 decades, if I've got my numbers correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, how often have people talked about the death of the dollar since it has become the world's reserve currency?
A few times, not as much as they have done recently, actually, and I think that you're starting to get a push towards it. And I think that, as I say earlier, about Russia and Saudi and Iran and China, obviously it would benefit them to do this, and the other side of the street's always rosy, but there's such outstanding debt. I mean, it's going to take decades for it to happen.
Yeah.
And what's it going to be replaced by?
That's always the question, right?
Bitcoin? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you guys and gals that are listening in have some comments for Dick regarding that particular issue, jump down in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Richard, I love that you're with us every week and you get to give us your thoughts on the market. What do you do for the traders or companies or clients for Pardus FX? How do you help them navigate through these markets?
I try and help them as much as I can, see some sense in amongst all the noise going on in the markets from, this is happening, that's happening, and try and guide them through some sort of sensible old-fashioned advice. And it's an interesting time, and it's a difficult market to call, but just calm down, take a step back and take a deep breath and just do what you want to do. You're never going to sell the top or buy the bottom, and that's the one thing that you've got to remember.
Well, we appreciate the wise words, Mr. Matthews. And for those of you that don't know how to follow Richard, make sure you go to pardusfx.com to check him out. And if you like this video, make sure you give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these interviews. Richard, I will talk to you next week. Good luck tomorrow for the CPI and the FOMC meeting minutes.
Good luck. See you, Blake. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.